QST. This is W4EMB, and my name is Ed. Welcome to the CW Corner Podcast. My podcast can be found on Spotify, Amazon Music and Audible, iHeartRadio, and Apple Play. So look for me on your favorite podcast platform. Have a listen on your commute. If you have any ideas or suggestions for topics, or even questions, I'm good on QRZ.com. Also, you can see me on YouTube at W4EMB. So let's get into today's episode. And today, here in the CW Corner Podcast, we have a special guest that needs no introduction. But because it's an audio podcast, I guess we kind of need an introduction. So special guest, I'm not going to say your name. Could you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, I'm Thomas, K4SWL. It's great to be here, Ed.
Awesome. Thanks, Thomas. I sure appreciate you being here, and it's so special having you on. I'm official big time now. All 8 subscribers are going to love it. But Thomas,
I may drive away some of those 8. Be careful what you say.
No, it's not video.
Yeah.
So we were just talking about that before we recorded. So Thomas, I'd like to just talk about a little bit about my first interaction with you. I decided I wanted to learn CW so that I could go do a Parks on the Air activation and not carry a bunch of stuff. My goal was to get from the car to the picnic table in one trip, and being a voice guy with a 100-watt rig and all that, the requirements to power that wasn't it. So I started CW, and actually a friend dared me to join the LICW, Long Island CW Club, and I did. I did shortly thereafter. That's a whole new story. But anyway, so I started the CW Club. I'm starting to get a little bit courageous, and I go, you know what? I think I'm gonna try to hunt a POTA station today. So I open up the POTA app website, and I see this, call sign K4S. Okay, all right, wherever that is. Turn my radio to that guy, and I hear loud and clear. Boop, 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 boop. I'm like, ooh, all right, here we go. As soon as I heard that person say dit, I sent my call out. And you answered me. You said,
Yay.
You answered W4EMB. And then it just faded out to nothing. And I thought, wait, you ain't supposed to give me like an RST or something? Am I doing something wrong?
Oh, no.
So I said, W4EMB, I think. I think I sent my call again. And you said my call sign, W4EMB. So I'm like, have I not listened long enough? Is there a script that I'm missing here? So I sent I think I sent a RST question mark, like what's my RST?
Yeah.
And you just sent like W4EMB, and I'm like, okay, sorry QSB, I'm doing something wrong. Sorry QSB 73 did, and I left.
Oh no,
because I thought I was doing something wrong. And then I looked up your call sign. I emailed you. I go, hey sir, I'm sorry, I'm a noob, I'm a lid. I was on the air way too soon. I don't even know what F and L is, and I'm sorry. Well, you were kind enough to email me back, and you're like, oh no, Ed, I got your call. Just didn't, I got your call. You're in my log. I heard you. You just, and I'm like, oh, awesome. As I'm reading this email, and you said, you'll see it in the video tomorrow. And I was like, video tomorrow?
Video.
So I'm like, I emailed you back. I go, okay, I'm glad I'm in your log, but what video? And you replied, oh, I got a YouTube channel. Thomas Witherspoon, I got a YouTube channel. And like, oh, so there I am waiting for this video to pop. Now, the only reason it was coming out tomorrow is because you were doing a special release on the TR45 radio.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Right. So it wasn't one of, it wasn't like a couple weeks old.
And most of them are. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so it was like coming out very soon. So I sat there through 45 minutes of Thomas Witherspoon showing off this TR45 radio and going all over it, front and back, inside and out, and showing all the things about it. Once you got done talking about the radio, I paused the video and I went and I ordered one. and then I sat and watched that video until 1 hour and 9 minutes, and there was W4EMB saying sorry, goodbye.
Oh, no.
And I had I was like, oh, that's so cringy, listen to that. And I contacted my LICW instructor, Chris, N8PEM. I go, hey, so I'm on this, some guy's got a YouTube channel. His name's Thomas. He's, Thomas Witherspoon. Oh, you heard of him? Yeah. I'm like, oh, Well, anyway, so I'm on his YouTube video at like an hour and 9 minutes. And he goes, "Oh, his latest one?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, that's great. I'm at hour 16." And then I was like, "Oh," well, of course, then I subscribed and I started watching your videos, and I would lay there in the evening and sit and listen with headphones on. And I was trying to
Mhm,
copy along with call signs. And
mhm,
I was just constantly watching your videos. And of course, well, then I'd run out of your videos. So I'd go look for others. And I found a few others.
mhm, mhm.
And well, then you put out this video and you start showcasing this stuff again. Oh wow, here's this chameleon antenna with a ground spike, a wire, a whip. It's only $1 million. Oh, I gotta have that. That 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 goes through. All right, payment accepted. Sweet. Next day, hey, let me show you this other antenna. Like, who is this guy with all this stuff on YouTube showing off all this stuff? Oh, look at this. This is called the MC750. Oh man, let me order that. So I buy that. Then that's when I sent you an email back and I was joking around. I said, "Excuse me, Mr. Witherspoon, I appreciate your videos, but I'm gonna have my lawyer send you a cease and desist letter because you're costing me too much money."
This is how my name becomes a curse word in many households.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
it
Like
really does.
when somebody's wife goes, "Oh, Thomas, yeah, I know who you are."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Their
Oh, yeah.
wife. So,
Yeah.
having said all that, you showcased all this gear. You showcased the TR-45. You showcased, the chameleon antenna, the Cheligans, and then I bought all that stuff. Um, so I guess that kind of takes it. I'd like it if you would tell us about your website, qrpeer.com. Can you tell us about it and what it is and who writes the articles and just tell us about it there, please.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's so first of all, that's great. I had never heard that story, Ed. Like I didn't realize that. At least I hadn't made the connection because that was probably years ago
It was.
that
Yeah.
happened. And back then, even the POTA community was a lot smaller,
Yes.
and you were talking about like working Chris too. And I was like, well, of course I work Chris because there was like kind of a core group of hunters on CW that you
Yes.
would work all the time. And I would know when someone new came along because in the early days, Apota especially there, gosh, like back in like 2000, early 2020, I mean, really, you would go out to the field and you could almost guarantee 80% of your hunters would be people that you already know because
Right.
it was such a much smaller community then. But that's just absolutely fantastic to hear. And there's nothing I love more than working somebody when they're doing their first hunt or
Right.
their first activation or something like that. And you happen to lock into like one of my very favorite radios, which is the TR-45L. That is just such a fantastic radio, and I'm a massive fan of it.
Right.
And yeah. So anyway, so QRP, it's funny, but I actually started. It's a blog, and I started it in 2008.
Okay.
It has been around all these years, and has gone through periods where I would put a lot of effort into it, and then I actually have another blog called the SWLing Post, which is like for shortwave radio listening. And I started those two, both of them in 2008 for my two passions, which were QRP and shortwave radio listening, and international broadcasting. And for whatever reason, like the shortwave listening post ended up getting a really large audience. And I think it was just because there were very few websites around that really catered to international broadcasting and shortwave at that point, and many of them were
Okay.
just kind of dropping off. And so it was kind of like the last man standing sort of thing. And it ended up taking a lot of my time. And so for a while, I didn't do as many posts on QRP. Then when I started getting into National Parks on the Air in 2016, and then especially Parks on the Air and Summits on the Air in 2020, 2019, 2020, in that time frame, I started posting a whole lot more because it was a great place to put my field reports.
Right.
But the truth is, I never even named the site after me because I wanted it to be like a community site where people would send in their own stuff. And that's one of the great joys about it is the bulk of the content actually comes from the community. Other people sharing their field report, their experiences, their reviews, stories, their gear. Like we have like a whole field radio gear page because that's something I used to love doing back when I was a much younger field operator, like back in the early 2000s. I would go out and look and see how people would kit out their radios because back then
Yes.
we didn't have as many radio options. And you're like, well, how did you take that radio and put it in a backpack with a
Right.
battery? Back when it was lead acid batteries and things.
Sure.
And I always loved seeing how people would would put together their kits. So now we have like a field radio kit gallery where people will put in like all their gear links and everything they have in there and what they like about it. And I love that.
That's what I love doing too. Is anybody, when I see people in my parks, quote unquote, the parks nearest me, I see someone new in there. I've always reached out and said, "Hey, I see that you're in the park. That's one of my local parks. I'd love to do a meetup so we could share and exchange gear ideas, and so we could see each other's setup." Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can learn so much from doing that.
Absolutely.
And people often think, I mean, this is like a really big I don't know, a big misconception is that like, oh, Thomas knows like all the best stuff because he's got everything on QRP or whatever. But the truth is, like, when I'm running the website and I'm writing my own field ports, most of the time I'm just like one guy.
Right.
And so I'm doing the things the way I do it. I learn so much from other people sharing their ideas. And I'm like, oh yeah, I never thought about doing that. And
Right.
that makes a lot of sense. And and I think early on, one of my goals with the website too was to really promote park activating, both with POTA and WWFF. I've never been as involved in WWFF just because I never. To be honest, I'm just so short on time. I can never think to like upload logs for both places.
Right.
Even though people have so kindly in the past even like offered to do my logs for me.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And people have done that.
You're so famous. People will probably carry your kit up
No.
to the hilltop for you.
No, I'm not that famous.
You have quarters.
But it was just kind of funny. And so in the early days, there weren't as many YouTube channels specifically about field operating, and then quite a lot of them that were really highly edited. And and someone asked me early on QRP, or when I did a field report, they said, "Could you please just go to the field with a camera and like put that on YouTube?" And I wrote back and I was like, "I don't do cameras. I just don't do that. I'm sorry." The whole thing goes back to the fact that my wife, she was a film student. She did a master's of fine arts in film, and I would watch her edit. I would help her sometimes with the technology she was using. And I was just like, man, this is just not something I'm interested in doing. Like a lot of people get a really big thrill.
Whole nother rabbit hole.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I don't have time. I don't have time for the learning curve for these things even. But this person pestered me a bit, and I thought, okay, what I'll do is I'll just take my iPhone out like everybody starts, and I'll just film it, and I'm not going to edit it. It's just going to be what it is.
Perfect.
Right? And so I went out and I did that, and I kind of narrated as I went along, and I thought that I would be laughed off of YouTube. I really did. And much to my surprise, I wasn't. And people were like, "Oh, this is great. This is how long it takes to set up your gear in the field."
That's how you throw that line into a tree.
Yeah, exactly. And people were getting upset with me like, "Wait, you're not including putting up the antenna and taking it back down." And I'm like, "You really want to see that?" Yeah. And so I made sure I put it in, and people would like say, "Why didn't you do it in this particular video?" And they'll still ask me today. They'll find like one of my older videos, and they'll say, "I wish you would have shown the line going up in the tree." I was like, "Well, I do now."
Right.
And so
that particular tree took me 12 throws.
It did. And people always see, it's kind of funny. People always see me and go out and I'll do like a throw in just one throw, and I'll get it in the tree. And they're like, "Wow, you must be really good." And I'm like, "No, I'm just not picky about where the line goes."
Yes, have you ever thought that some people just want to see you throw the line in the tree for your little jump you do at the end?
Yeah, I'm sure they do. Yeah, I get a lot of that actually. I get a lot of that. And the funny part is like the throwing the line in the tree is like one of my very favorite parts of doing the activation. It's like the little tiny bit of sport that's in there where you're like, can I do it? It's like bowling.
Right.
Can I get a spare or like a strike this time? But it's just, for me, it's really fun, and I like sharing my enthusiasm. And I really don't promote my channel at all. Like in terms of, I was trying. Somebody asked me recently, was like, "Yeah, I noticed something. You never ask people to like and subscribe."
Well,
and I don't think I've done that in years.
How, when you tell people, "Hey, listen, I don't edit. If you're into that, well, you're
some other
welcome
good
to go
channels.
to somebody else's video because this isn't it."
Yeah.
So having said that, and it's out of the way, here we go. And so I like that.
Yeah, and people come to me and ask advice about starting a YouTube channel, and like, use mine as like a best case scenario or a textbook case for not being a part of the YouTube guy. If you want to be algorithm proof, do what I do. If you want the algorithm to pick you up, you need to look at much better YouTubers than me, because there's some that really do some good work, and I like, I kind of like all of it
Sure.
out there, but
I've tried. So I started my YouTube channel and I tried to edit some, but not at first. At first, I started off. Matter of fact, one of my first POTA activations where I finally got the courage to go up and go. It was after watching one of your videos. I'm laying there again, listening to one of your videos. I'm trying to copy along, and I was getting so discouraged because I was like, I'm never going to get this. He's getting these call signs one after the other. It dawned on me, out of all the stuff that you do and don't write down, you write down the call sign. Or you log the call
mhm,
sign. And I wasn't doing it. I was literally trying to head copy everything.
right.
And I go, wait a minute. So I grabbed a pen and paper and I actually sat up and sat in a sitting position with paper and pad. And if I didn't get the call sign when they sent it, I got it when you replied.
Hmm.
Or if not, you know, maybe I was just missing one letter. And I told
Hmm.
myself, well, what's the difference between that and me just sending a question mark and filling in that one letter? I
Yeah.
guess I guess I can do this. So it was
Hmm.
because of your video that I just had the epiphany of I I can do this now that I found out I need to write them down. I'm so new at CW, and so I went out and I started activating, and then I said, you know what? I know that when I was looking for practice videos, there wasn't a lot out there, like you said. Like Aaron
Hmm.
Bowman was out there, W4ARB,
Yeah. Hmm.
yourself, a few others I'm probably not mentioning. Sorry, listeners. Um, so in one of my very first videos, I'm at Dunbar Cave State Park in Clarksville, and it was one where I'm doing a mast using a telescopic mast. I'm leaning it against a tree, and I'm talking to the camera. I go, "Hi, I'm Thomas K4SWL," and I go, "No, I'm just kidding. It's just me, Ed." I go, I like to shoot real time videos too, and I'm not editing this either. But since
Good
I
on
had
you.
such an outreach of people asking me to edit some, that
Yeah.
I
Sure.
started putting in the call signs, and it does take a long time when you shoot an hour
Yeah.
long video, and then you have to watch the hour long video and stop it, and then
Yeah.
cut and paste a call into the video, and then listen again, because I try to paste it in at the same spot. So like, I call CQ, someone answers K4SWL, and then I reply K4SWL, pause video, then I put it in there in text,
Yeah.
move it where it needs to be, resize it, and then I hit
Yeah.
right click, copy that one. And then I play the video till the next call sign set comes up, pause,
Yeah.
paste, retype. And it takes time. I would much rather prefer to just shoot a video and put it up and let people listen because it's so much easier. It kind of always takes, I hate to say it takes the fun out of it, editing it. It really
Yeah,
does.
I have kind of someone wrote to me about this just a month or two ago, actually. They were asking me to, hey, can you put the call signs in the video, like put them up on the screen? And I told them, I was like, part of me would really like to do that, but I just don't have the time to edit it. And my
Right.
life is way too busy.
Right.
And I would do half or a third of the amount of videos if I had to
Yes.
do that. And so I said, but let me just say that there is a whole school of thought that if someone doesn't provide the video, it's like when you're trying to learn to copy CW. If you have a CW reader that, let's say, in the perfect world, that this CW reader actually reads perfectly, which they don't,
Sure.
of course. But if it did, it would kind of become a crutch, and
Yes.
you
Correct.
wouldn't learn as quickly. And so it actually works better if you make your brain do the work
Yes.
in real time. And then, like in mine,
Good point.
what I do is I provide like a photo of my logs on the QRPer post, because with each one of my videos, there's always a field report that goes along with it at QRPer, and I'll
Right.
put all my logs down there in case you couldn't see it in the video. But I just found that to be like kind of a really simple way to
Sure.
do things.
Tell us
And
about
I've
your.
even
Go ahead.
I Oh, I was going to say, I even had like, there's at least been two people over the years I've been
Sure.
doing this that wrote to me, and they're like, Thomas, I've always wanted you to have, you know, like the call signs and everything, and like what you're sending,
Right.
you know, as like, closed captions or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I made a video today and I did that, and I want you to check it out. And I'd be like, oh, cool. Wow. It looks really good. And then they say, hey, I'm starting a YouTube channel,
Right. Right.
and I'm gonna do this with my videos. And I'm like, okay. And literally two different people have come to me and said that, and they would do like two videos that way, and they're like, oh, this takes way too much
It
time.
does. It does. It
It's
does.
just so it's painfully long editing, time if you do that.
And then especially, and I realized it just sitting there staring at my face. Sorry to my viewers. while I'm doing a pod activation, and you're getting to see a few call signs pop up in there that, and I watched a few others that added some B-roll. They kept the audio going but
Yeah,
added the B-roll. So I did that, and I do like seeing some B-roll in there. It kind of keeps
sure,
people's attention, so that
sure.
way they'll sit there. And but I'm not into it for the views either. I don't
Yeah,
monetize.
yeah.
I don't want commercials on my stuff. Although somebody emailed me once and told me, or put a comment, too many commercials. I'm like, look, I don't
Yeah.
monetize. I don't, and I do have a buy me a coffee on mine, and it only
Hmm.
started because Tom's I got scolded once. A guy
Mm,
watched one of my videos and he goes, "Hey, how do I support your channel?" I'll just hit the little thummy up thing or pass me to your buddies. He goes, "No, no,
hmm.
how do I send you money?" I go, I was flabbergasted. I was like, "No, no, I don't do money. I don't want your money.
Hmm.
I'm just putting these out for other people that are like me. They're trying to."
Yeah.
But he said, "Ed, you don't get it." He says, some of the things you talk about while you're doing your videos. He says, I would have tried the same stuff that you tried that failed, and I would have
Hmm.
failed at it. And he says, I would have wasted $50 on the wrong item. So I'm learning from your mistakes. He says, so if you save me $50, I don't mind sending you 20, and I want to know how to do it. And I go,
Yeah.
so I said, oh, okay, well, how do you do that? And he goes, oh, Google it. So I Googled it, and I had a PayPal for a while. Then somebody
Hmm.
else commented, hey, nobody does PayPal anymore. Do something else. I'm like, okay. They go, try that buy me a coffee thing. Okay, so I created the buy me a coffee account, and I don't
Hmm.
even know how to respond to some of the comments that people will pay me or buy a coffee, and then they'll comment on there, and I don't even know how to like reply to their comment. But I truly appreciate it. I mean, I really do. And because of that, I bought, and I think I'd asked you or a couple other YouTubers, hey,
Hmm.
what camera are you using? And
Right.
so I got the DJI Action 4 camera. And
Yeah.
then I found out that the sound means everything. You can have beautiful video,
Yeah.
but if you got wind cracking on your
Yeah.
thing the whole time, I had to move. It hurts my ears. So I
Yeah.
have the DJI mics with the little wind socks, and
Yes.
I use the money from my buy me a coffee fund to buy that, and then the little
Hmm.
tripod to hold it.
Yep.
So, but that worked out great. You, Thomas, you talked about these field reports. Could you tell us if you is anybody free to send you field reports, or do you do
Oh
certain
yeah.
times where you ask people to, or people could send you one anytime?
Yeah, actually, so I've never ever had really like a formal. I think I've a couple times over the years I've kind of said, "Hey, send me your field reports." But I kind of mention to people in my videos and stuff. Sometimes I really love reading other field reports, and so there's like a core group of people. I mean,
Right.
quite a lot of them that'll send field reports just when they've gone out and done an activation. I
You got
do
one for
accept
me once.
absolutely,
But
and
you,
I
I
love.
think you included it in one of our email back and forths. You said, "Oh, by the
That's
way,
right.
if you want to send me some pictures and write up a report about it."
That's exactly right.
Right.
Yeah. And I get that a lot actually. Well, I'll tell people like, hey,
Yeah.
just did you take some photos? Man, just write this up. This is great. And
Is there
because it's
anything that
like,
you want included in the field report? Like, what are some of the things that really need to be in one? Not that you'll
yeah,
kick it back, but what
so
needs to be in there?
that's a really good question. So since it's on a website, which can be looked at these days as a little old school, right? But I actually still like reading things. Since it's on a website, we need like imagery. So
Okay.
like you need to take a lot of photos. When you go out, take more photos than you think you need,
Right.
and then send them to me so I can like kind of format it and put it in
Right.
there. You can format and put it like write it up in a Word document or something, put in the images where you think you want them to be, and I'll try to put them in there in those
Right.
places. But like I like to be able to crop in and do things and make sure it looks good on the website when
Sure.
it's formatted for the website. And so sometimes I'll get really good field reports in, but they've only got like one photo. And it's
Okay.
not a photo of the rig or
Right.
anything else. It's like a photo of a park sign. And
Or
I'm
yeah,
like,
or the sunset.
do you have anything else that we could put
Right.
in there? And, because it does end up being quite visual. People want to see photos of what's going on. I usually like just to tell people, tell where they went to do the activation, if it's a summit or if it's a park or an island or a lighthouse or whatever, or just like going out in the field and doing rag chews or DXing or whatever. What their goal was, if they were going out, the gear they took along with them, their setup process, how the activation or the time on the air went, if they learned any lessons along the way. And usually I like people to share their logs. And it's kind of cool if you can do one of those QSO maps where you show like
Oh,
where you were and all the contacts you made on a map. It's not necessary. I'd say maybe a third to half of the people usually put those in there, but it's kind of a great way to see like, and people on
it's an
QRP
instant
are
visual. Yeah.
Yes,
Instantly.
exactly. You're like, oh, that's exactly what that was the
Right.
footprint, you know. And I'd say that the bulk of the people in QRP are low power radio enthusiasts, so they're going to tend to have low power. But we don't limit it to that. Like
Right.
if you want to do a QRO activation, we just label it as like, hey, it was running 100 watts or whatever.
Sure.
But it tends to be, we go for more field portable stuff, so it tends to be more on the QRP side.
Right.
And that's pretty much it. Just keep it in your own words. Don't have AI write it. Like I don't like AI stuff on the website. I just want it to be genuine. And the most AI you'll see on my website is like grammar correction. I have a little tool that I'll use just to make sure I'm not leaving out punctuation and to help me clean up.
That's good,
Other
especially if you
people's
get something
logs.
from me. I'm just an infantry guy, so. Like, wow,
Hey,
thanks, Ed. For
we
writing this
appreciate your
spiel.
service.
Yeah, appreciate.
Maybe not your grammar, but your service, you know?
That's Tennessee talk for bless his heart.
Yeah, bless his heart. Oh, trust me, that's North Carolina talk too.
You got that
Oh,
up there?
bless his heart. Well, trust me, my wife's an editor, and so like,
fine.
I post things all the time, and like sometimes like she goes and sees it later. She's like, you've got like a whole bunch of errors in this. And then my buddy Eric, WD8RIF, like he is like my unpaid, always there person to point out the blatantly obvious stupid thing I put in a post. or the fact that I've done a post and I embed the video, but I don't make the video public. So like anybody on the post can get it, but like nobody on YouTube sees it for like a whole day. And he's like, you can't even see this on your YouTube channel. I'm like, oh, and press publish.
It's wonderful to have a buddy like that on your side. You know, I have a guy that I send my stuff to. My buddy Pat, K4SWL. I say, Pat, how's this? Pat, how's that? And he tells it. He's honest with me. And,
yeah, sure.
Yep,
you need that.
Like that. And also when you have a guy on the side like that who, you know, he can text you and go, hey, psst, by the way, this, oh man, and you get like that, oh phooey, and you run to go fix it, but you know he's not you. That way you don't get it in the comments where everybody can see it. You know, he's hitting you up on the side like, hey.
Yeah, try to fix it kind of quickly and nobody noticed. I'll just sweep that under the rug real quick.
Right.
You know,
I've seen it. Right.
I sometimes like the worst will be that I'm really prone to do this where I'll like publish a big field report or a review or something, and then like within 30 minutes I'm on the road for like a multi-hour trip or something, and then I stop at a rest area and look at my phone, and I've got like 14 comments of people saying, you spelled that wrong, or you had this, you know, the title has a wrong title on it, or just some silly thing that I, you know, but that's just, I don't know, it's part of the game. To me, I think feel like,
reply, hey, I got a man that tells me that.
I guess, you know, I kind of look at it as, it's just real stuff, you know, like it's not, that's the whole thing. I hate reading things and reviews, you know, like recently I got an espresso maker, and you start looking around at like reviews of espresso makers or whatever, and YouTube channels and, you know, written things, and you'll read them or you'll watch them. You're like, oh my gosh, this is totally just an AI thing. And you can tell that like someone just had it make the thing, you know, they don't know anything about it. And I'm like, oh, what a waste of time. I would prefer there to be errors and for it to be a little rough around the edges, just because it's human. And that's where people, it's not intimidating. I always said there are two goals for my channel, maybe three. Number one was kind of promote CW, because back when I first started doing this, there were way fewer CW operators out there. And I just want to say, hey, this is a really fun aspect of the hobby. And boy, it gives you a superpower with the reverse beacon network when you go out to do activations and things. And so people could like practice their CW before they go out and feel pretty comfortable with it. Another one was to help people with their insomnia. So they watch my videos and it will help them.
I say that to everybody. I tell them, I got a YouTube channel if you got insomnia.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's the perfect cure for insomnia. And the other thing was just to be like, for lack of better words, like kind of mediocre, like just a normal person doing normal things. So like you look at it and it's not intimidating. Like I'll watch videos of things, just talking about espresso makers and stuff, you know, I'll watch videos and there's some brilliant ones out there about how you make espresso. And some of them you look at them, you're like, oh my gosh, like, I don't think I could get all the gear together to even make that happen. And then like learn the skills and then the grinding and all this blah, blah, blah. And so I kind of feel like with amateur radio, it's not that complicated. It looks, when you finish your test, your first test, you're like, oh my gosh, there's so much I need to know to be on the air. But we all know once we get on the air a bit, we're like, actually, that stuff helps. But like, there's just also just pressing the push to talk key or
Sure.
whatever, you
Right.
just get on there.
That's right. Just get on the air. Get on the air.
And so that was really my main goals.
Perfect. So you publish your videos to cure insomnia, but you drink espresso. Those two are fighting each other really hard.
They are.
And
They really.
So do you roast your own beans as well?
I do not. I have friends that do that. I have never gone down that route. And one of the reasons why is I live here in Swannanoa, which is like between the city of Asheville and a little town of Black Mountain. And my wife and I and our family, we pretty much live out of Black Mountain. Most of the stuff we do, we go there for. And there's some great coffee roasters in this area, but there's a really incredible one called Dynamite Roasting.
Right.
And I like their stuff so much. I'm just like, I'll never be able to beat this.
Sure.
And so I buy all of my beans from them. And I do love coffee a lot. That is like one of my passions besides radio and packs and bags,
right?
And that sort of thing is coffee.
Yeah, I'm gonna. You get asked a lot of stuff. I was almost going to say, so Thomas, I'm going to need you in your videos to say, all right, in this video, Ed, don't watch the first 15 minutes and then continue. So I don't buy bags and stuff because I'm a bag. Oh, I have.
Are you?
Bags. Yes. Anyway. All right.
You didn't see my latest video or one, and not my latest, but like a recent, no, it hasn't been in a video yet. It will be soon, Ed. So you should probably block my channel for at least the next 2 weeks because I have quite a few videos coming up with a haversack. And I'm sure you probably are familiar with them, but like in World War II, like a lot of infantry people, they would have haversacks.
Yep.
And there's a guy, I think in Massachusetts called Hidden Woodsman. And I saw someone had told me about him ages ago, and I just happened to peruse his website sometime in December, and I saw that he had his haversack on sale for like $100, and it was normally 150. And he makes these, and I thought, oh, I think that'll fit my FT818 really nicely, and it looks cool. It's just nice and simple and canvas, and handmade, cottage industry and stuff. And so I bought it, and then I posted something on QRP, and I thought this is like a guy making stuff, and I wrote him. I was like, by the way, if you get like a lot of inquiries about this, this is where it's coming from today, right?
Yeah, right.
And he was like, hey, thank you for the heads up. And like the next week, he was like, wow, you weren't kidding, were you? And it's like, because there are a lot of pack enthusiasts that now follow QRP because I think it goes with the field, right, of being a field radio operator.
Well, Thomas, I know you're extremely humble about it, but you are Thomas Witherspoon, and to everybody else, that means something pretty big. You've been Thomas Witherspoon your whole life, but other people, like you said earlier, when they see you doing something and you're so successful at what you do, you run out and you try to emulate the things that are working. And if that pack fits it, that must be the one. Good, I don't have to look. So yeah, you could create business for people. I imagine. So if you had a mom and pop shop making bags, he's probably thankful for the heads up.
Yeah, I'll admit I get really enthusiastic about these things, and sometimes I finish off a video and I turn off the camera and I'm like, oh, I hope I didn't gush about that too much. Like, because my daughters always joke about me when we go to restaurants. I love food, we'll go to a restaurant and like some Indian restaurant or something, and I'll eat a dish I haven't had before, and they're like, do you like it? And I'm like, this is like one of the best meals I've ever had in my life. And they tell me like, you say that every time we go out. And it's because I just in the moment, like I really love that. And so I don't want to lead people on, but at the same time, like all the stuff that I do, no one pays me to say any of that stuff. I'm just
your honest opinion. And I think
I just enjoy it.
What makes it so valuable is that you tell people right up front, if you want to go somewhere else, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
I don't.
It's not what it's about.
Commercials. It's not what it's about. It's about, like you said, your goal was to get people out there doing it and playing radio. Because if that wasn't our goal, that was my goal with my channel. Was I just want to help other CW operators. I wanted them to have another channel to watch to see if is mine the one where they finally had the epiphany that goes, I can copy a call sign almost, but I have a bucket of question marks, so I'm good to go. Because you never know. Is it Aaron Bowman? Is it Evan K2EJT? Is it one of N8PEM's videos? Eventually somebody hits the one where they go, I'm doing it, and they go get on the air.
Yeah, and I gotta say, that's what I love about your videos too, is they're
Oh,
also
thank you.
so kind of accessible. Like, you just go out and you do your thing, and it's not about the drama,
Right,
or anything like that. No clickbait, no nothing.
right,
It's just it is what it is, and that's where you actually learn a lot too.
right.
I'm actually kind of really put off by clickbait and stuff. I'm like, I want if it
Kind
looks
of
like a
hard to have
clickbait thing.
clickbait with my face on the thumbnail.
Ditto. That's the reason I keep my face off of it.
Right.
Um, but
Let me ask you about a radio, because I
sure.
happen to get one like you have, and you had talked about this a few times, and it was the Index Laboratories QRP Plus. That
Yes.
little square black box radio
Yes.
has its own unique sound. My CW Elmer KM6NN, whenever I've made a QSO with him, he immediately texts me, "Hey, what rig were you on?" If I'm not on, a common,
Yep.
DX10 or a modern rig, because he always wants to know because it has that sound to it. So,
Yes.
do you operate with it as much as you want, or are you busy trying to do other rigs, or you
I
know?
rotate my rigs around,
Sure.
and it's funny you mentioned this because I was looking at it yesterday and I was like, "Okay, you're about next now.
Right.
You're about next coming up," because I love that radio, and it has a really, some radios have like a really special place in your heart.
Right.
Besides them maybe being a good performer or being really useful, they'd have like just meaning, and
Right.
this one definitely does. And the reason why is I first when I first became an amateur radio operator, before I was an amateur radio operator, I was studying and I was working. This was right out of college, and this is when my wife was doing her master's degree at Ohio University
Mhm.
in Athens, Ohio.
Right.
And the only job I could find around there, because it was super difficult during
Yeah.
that time to find a job,
I'm
was
from there.
working at a. Oh, are you really?
Not
You're
not
from
from
Athens,
Athens, but I'm from southeast. I'm southeast of Columbus. Yeah.
Southeast? Okay, so only job I could find was at a Radio Shack. And
Oh, awesome.
I at first I was like, "Oh, that's really cool," because this has always been my candy store
Yeah.
growing up. But then I realized, like, boy, I am not a retail sales guy.
Right.
Like, because as much as I like, get enthusiastic about stuff, I also do not want to sell people things. Like, I don't.
Right.
I want to say, like, "What do you want? Let me just help
Right.
find the
Yeah.
thing you're looking for," right? But like in retail sales, you're supposed to like upsell stuff. I
Right.
just
Oh,
could
yeah.
not
Yeah.
do that. I could not do that. But that job, I was helping a guy look for like components at the back of the store, which like none of the other salespeople would
Sure.
do because there's
Yeah.
like no
Those little
commission in
drawers
it.
with all the transistors,
Yes.
resistors. Yes. Right.
And he mentioned that he was doing something and it was amateur radio related,
Right.
and he was repairing something. And I was like, "Oh, I'm studying for my license right now." And he said, "Really?" And this was Mike, K8RAT. And at the time, his call sign was AA80B.
Right.
Way back then, is in 1997, I
Sure.
think. And he said, "Hey, we have a field event coming up this weekend at the Athens County Fairground, and it's called Freeze Your Butt Off. Would you like to come to it?" And I was like,
That
"Maybe."
sounds like a great
And
time.
he's like, "Oh, come on out." And I was like, "Sure, I'll be there." And so I went there, and Mike was there, and he saw me, and he came over, and he said hi, and he explained what was going on. And he said, "This is a QRP event." And I knew enough to know. I was like, "Is that low power?" And he's like, "Yep." And all I heard was CW. I had never in my life in person heard an operator doing CW like that. I'd heard it on the shortwave bands and stuff,
Of
but
course.
never like someone keying, and never
Or
watched them
seeing
doing
them.
it.
Right.
Yeah, and that was my buddy Eric, WD8RIF, WD8RIF, who was on the radio there keying, and he was in front of an Index Labs QRP Plus. And I looked at that radio and I was like, I cannot believe, as this is in 1997, I cannot believe a radio that size is making contacts all over
Right.
North America
Isn't that
and maybe
crazy?
even into Europe. And it blew my mind, especially at 5 watts. And he
You're
had a
hooked.
really modest, little
Yeah.
small setup,
Yeah.
and so Eric had that for a long time. And in fact, if you Google Index Labs QRP Plus, you're going to end up on his website at some
Right.
point because he's got
Right.
so many resources there about it. Even though I'm not even sure if he owns one right now, because I think he
Huh.
sold it to get an Elecraft or something.
Yeah.
And I probably 3 years ago or so, I came across one
Right.
online and bought it and took it out, and I was like, "Oh, this thing is so much fun," and
It's another
I love it.
reason. That's another reason I'm going to send you a letter, because after watching your video, I found one and I bought the thing. Yeah. But I
It's a
have to say,
cute
it
little
is
cute.
fun. It is so fun though. and the sound and the filters. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
amazing.
the
You get a
staff filter
whole
is pretty
different,
good.
yeah, whole different set of filters than like my 817 without a Yaesu
Yep,
Collins filter in it, or any of the other newer portable rigs. That
yep.
sound, the filtering on it is just amazing. The sound that it does, and then after that QRP Labs radio, then I found an SGC SG 2020.
Yeah, that's another one that's really cool.
Right.
Yes.
And
Did you
it
get
had
it?
a lot of what's that?
Did you get it? The
Mm,
2020?
My 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 wife might listen to this. Yes, I did.
That's the reason you're breaking out in a cold sweat. I got it. Okay, cool. Yeah, you're breaking out in one
Yeah, I
right
did.
now.
I did.
Um,
I got the SG 2020 radio, and it came with
mhm.
a SG 237 Portatuner.
Wow, you got the full thing.
Well, and in mint condition. And
Wow.
so then I tell my buddy Pat K4LMZ about it. Well, he goes and he finds the MAT 200 auto tuner that has the 5-button antenna switch
Yeah.
on it, and he buys it and sends it to me. I'm
Wow.
like, oh, come on, Pat. And he's like, hey, you need that. If you got that rig, it goes with it. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Because that 237 Portatuner has a place for you to put a whip and radials on it, and it's supposed to
Yeah.
stand up vertically. Well, the
Hmm.
other tuner just sits like a normal tuner would. Well,
Hmm.
then lo and behold, we find a second SGC 2020 radio for sale, and Pat buys it. And
Oh, wow.
so I was like, hmm. So I boxed up that tuner and sent it back to him. He's like, you weren't supposed to send this back. I said, no, you need to. I got a tuner already for mine. You need a tuner for that. Right?
That's
So now we both
fantastic.
are sitting on an SG 2020 radio, and he has the QRP Labs QRP Plus as well. But I really
And
love those
they
old
share a
rigs.
common lineage too,
Right.
because the
Yes.
developer, for the Index Labs ended up going into the development for the 2020. And the 2020 is, I lusted after that radio back in my early days as an amateur radio, because it just looked, it was like it's like field hardened,
Yes.
like it's really super
Like they
durable,
park a
really
car on it
simple.
in the advertisement in the magazine or something.
Yes. And it's like I was like, oh, I really want to have one of those, and I never did it.
Right.
And I haven't had an opportunity. I don't want an opportunity right now
Well,
because,
don't look
like,
them up
I know, I don't want to do it.
because I do often.
The caveat with a lot of those radios is you have to realize that, like, if something happens to a firmware chip, you
Yes.
could,
Right.
that could be really sad day.
Yes.
Most of the time, though, those radios are designed well enough that,
Right.
I mean, they're here because, and they're working now because they're pretty rugged,
They
and
are.
most
Yeah.
of the things you can fix. And I'm lucky here that, one of my very best friends in the world is Vlado N3CZ, who is like one of the very best repair technicians in the
Sure.
world
Right.
for radios. And so I know that unless it's like unobtainium,
Yes.
that, like, Vlado will be like, oh, we can fix that, and so
I have a
I
buddy
take a
like
lot
that
more
here
risk.
local. He retired Army as well, and he's a radio repair guy. And if he can't fix it, it's broke.
Yeah, it's like proper broke. Yeah, Vlado will joke with me. I remember once I called him from a ham fest, and I can't even remember what it was I was looking for, and I picked up a radio, and I was like, I don't know, Vlado, should I do this? This has been years ago, probably 5 years ago. And he was like, well, tell me about it. Would it smell it? Does it
Yeah.
smell like anything burnt? And I was like,
Right.
no, it
Yeah.
smells okay. And he said, will it power on? I was like, nope, it won't power on.
Mm.
It's not doing that. And I like shook it a little bit, and it rattled. And I said, it rattled. And he said, oh, that's good news.
Right.
And he's like, it's always good when they rattle.
Something just fell off. That's all. Cold solder joint, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's always really funny. He
Yeah.
loves. I remember I bought a second radio for. I can't even remember what it was now. I bought a second radio as a parts radio for one of my radios. It may have been a KX1, or I can't remember what. And I said, I'm just getting this as a parts radio. He said, what do you mean parts radio? It's going to be a fully functioning radio,
Oh my
like,
goodness. Right.
parts radio. And yeah, I do have a bit of an addiction, but I always tell my wife, like, the good thing about QRP radios is they take up, like, almost no space at all. They're so
Right.
small.
Right. That's
Um,
it. That's what it. Yeah. I'm gonna use that line too.
use
Right.
that. Use
That's
that.
it.
You can put a little trademark
But
next
it's
to it.
QRP. It don't
That's
take
how.
up space. I watched another, and it was Ditwit Portable Radio. He made a video where he laid out a bunch of his equipment. And he was talking about small radios, medium radios, and large radios.
Hmm.
And he went over a few of the pros and cons of, taking them out. And I go, that's a good idea. It's not about copying another person's video. It's about also show some more, right? Because
Yeah.
people will see something, go, wow, I wonder if anybody else made a video like this. Is there more to look at?
Oh yeah.
So that's the reason why I feel like I'm copying it, but I hope it's not looked at that way by others. I want them to.
No.
So anyway, I broke out a table, started laying radios out on it, broke out a second table, and started laying out the rest of. And then I started off the video with, well, I didn't know that I had. Well, I kind of knew that I had. I guess. Well, maybe I'm starting this video off the wrong way. Instead of "Hi everybody, I'm Ed." No, maybe I should say, "Hi everybody, I'm Ed, and I have a
radio addiction."
So
yeah, people ask me how many radios I have, and I'm like, there's a reason I don't count them. I don't want to know. Like, I just don't want to know.
Have you ever just happened to fumble upon one for sale, and it was just such a good deal? You said, "Oh, gotta buy that because that's just such a good deal."
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I've got an MTR4B sitting here from the Hamvention. I've got what else? I've got I'm trying to think. I recently bought from yeah, I have a little Tintec R4020 radio. There was just a good deal. I bought it. Right. What was that you were holding up there?
Oh yeah. So for
those of you, you push it closer to the microphone.
Oh, yeah.
So people can see it.
So it's a QRP Labs QCX radio.
Yes.
Now normally they're 3D printed, but this is in the aluminum Bamatech case.
Ah.
Right. And Bamatech put these out 10, 12 years ago, or something really long ago. So you can't buy these aluminum cases to put on the radio anymore. Mm-hmm. And I just happened to find it on one of the places I frequent, because I shouldn't. And all of a sudden it's like, hey, here's a radio, $100. I'm like, $100? I said, people would pay probably $100 just for that case because you can't get them. So I go, I got to have that. And it's a 40 meter mono bander QRP Labs QCX. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I fell into a good deal. And then lo and behold, and there's a gentleman who is helping with an estate, KD9YEY, and he's been posting stuff on QRZ here recently. I got to stop. I told him to cut me off. I really did. And he goes and he posts 2 more of these, a 20 and a 40.
Yeah. Yeah.
And together it was a good price. I go, both of those for that price? And he goes, yeah. I go, oh, I'll take it. And I just got this. So, and I was telling Chris about this, and I hope Chris don't mind me sharing. Chris was like, are you boasting that you got all these cool radio? And I was like, I was talking to my buddy Pat. I was like, I'm not boasting. I'm just saying, if you just look, all of a sudden you just fall into a really good deal. And I just happened to find 2 back to back on that little radio. And
yes.
Now I'm not going to keep them. I don't have a need to have 2 20s and 2 40s. So what I end up doing is, when I come across in my travels somebody who's into it, guess what? They're
same way. Same thing. I have collected QMXs. I've given away 2 QMXs to people. I'm just like, they need a radio, and I'm just like, well, here, take this one. And they're like, what? Right. And see, back in the day when I was back in 1997, and a lot of people have been licensed way longer than I have, but I always try to share this when people start complaining about radio pricing. I'm like, you have no idea. Like, right now is the best time ever to be an amateur radio operator, because I started out and I think I paid $700 for a used ICOM IC735. And it was like the most affordable thing I could find, really, without going into like Tube Gear or something. I want something solid state. And now, and like in like today's money, that's probably like $1,200, $1,300. And now you can, for under $200, you can have a radio. You could probably, for under $200, easily put together an entire field kit.
Yep.
If you're willing to like make an antenna, you could put together an entire field kit for under $200. And I kind of look at that as like, it's a really cheap way to just help somebody get into the hobby with really good gear. Those QRP Labs radios are good. And and
you make a homemade in-fed half wave and you put that up, and you're reaching DX
you're good to
contacts on 5 watts.
Yes, you're good to go. And so people, I think they just, they don't realize. And I love to, I like being on this end. Back when I was a new amateur radio operator, people were generous with me, and it's kind of
Right.
nice
Pay
being in a
forward,
position to pay it forward
yes.
and do that too, because at the end of the day, I've told people I struggle selling gear. I would much rather just give it away, but I struggle selling it, and part of it is I always feel like, it's not even really the radios. It's like all the extra stuff that you
Right.
have.
Yes.
And you're like, you don't want to take it and drop it off at a thrift store
Of
somewhere
course.
because they won't know what to do with it.
Right.
You want it to go to the right crowd and you want it to get used.
Right.
And at the same time, so when I run into people that can use stuff, I'm like, here, I got some stuff for you.
Right. Yes. And recently I've been going through a lot of my stuff, and I keep coming across just a lot of extra, and I keep telling myself I just need to I need to slim house a little bit. But then all of a sudden I go and I start looking, and like I got this little Japanese key by Sir Kobo,
Yes,
and
those are cute.
it's so cool looking that you have to go and you look again, and next thing you know, you're
Yeah.
coming home with another puppy.
Yep.
So
Trust me.
yeah.
It's easy to do that with Morse code keys.
Oh, I can touch. We won't say right now, sitting here at the desk. Yeah. Anyway, well, Thomas, I just like to say thanks for stopping by. I don't want. I'd love to sit here and just talk to you forever, but I know you're a busy guy. We got this impending weather coming in.
We
This
do.
is Friday, January 23rd, and there's some impending. Like, it's sunny out right now. I'm going to go to a cabin to meet up with a guy who's already on his way, and we're
Yeah.
probably going to get snowed into that cabin at the state park.
Hey, give me your GPS so I can give the search and rescue team, exact coordinates when they come to get you. Okay.
Right.
And
Would you?
being with your military history, you're used to helicopters picking you out of there, so don't worry about it. You'll be fine.
I don't think they'll send the helicopter for me, but they might just tell me to hike out, right?
Yeah, you've got the skill. Just hike out.
Yeah. I know which way's home, right?
That's right.
I'm getting too old for that. I made a few promises to myself when I retired. No more cold, wet, and hungry, and no more walking when I don't have to.
That's right.
I've got a lot of miles on my boots. But anyway, Thomas, I'd like to say thank you again for taking time out of your day to come here.
Oh, my
You're big in the
pleasure.
community. You've given up so much to the community and helped probably more people than you know. And so, thank you for all of that. And before we head out, is there any just little bit of advice that you'd have for that new operator who's getting into gear? Is there just any words of wisdom that you'd like to drop on a new person?
Well, first of all, know that when you become an amateur radio operator, that you're really joining this international community of people that are overall very, very kind. And I believe that one way you can really pay it forward, and Ed, you're like a prime example of this,
Thank you for that.
is to be kind when you're out there. And you'll find, don't be intimidated when you go to a club meeting or something. It's true that when you first get started and you go to a club meeting, you may feel really awkward.
Sure.
If you're really young, or you're female, or you're just not the traditional what you see at a club meeting, like you older guys,
Right.
but trust me, some of them are kind of shy, and so it may take them a little while to warm up. But when you do that, you'll find that people are just amazing to hang out with and be with. And I promise you, some of your very best friends in your life will end up being amateur radio operators, because you share this common passion for communicating and sometimes for technology and all these other things. So just jump in there and surround yourself with kind people and be a kind person, and the world will be a great place.
Absolutely. There we go. Well, that's from Thomas Witherspoon, everybody. I sure appreciate Thomas, that you joined me today. Thanks again. And everybody, I'm
My
Ed,
pleasure.
W4EMB here on the CW Corner, and today we talked with Thomas Witherspoon, K4SWL, and please check out his website, QRPeer, and also SWLing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the QRPeer is QRPER.com, and read his articles. And we did cover some of the things that he'd like to see in an article. So if you have a field report and you haven't turned one in, make sure you got plenty of pictures, Word document, some goals, your setup process, how did it go, any lessons learned. Make sure you include all those in your field report to Thomas, and I'm sure that you'll see it one day on the QRPeer.com. And again,
That's right.
Ed, W4EMB here on the CW Corner. You can catch me on all your favorite platforms. And we're going to bid you a 72 if you're QRP like you should be.
Yep, 7 2s.
Hi.